Welcome back to the deep dive. We're pulling back the curtain again, digging into the research, the notes just for you. Today, we're looking at something that, well, it might just be humming away in your home right now. Your sewing machine. Have you ever really stopped to think about what makes one machine feel, solid and safe? While maybe another one just jams up constantly. Well, today we're going to unravel a bit of that, specifically by looking at a key Indian standard. It's IS 15449 Part 1, 2024. This is basically the rule book for these everyday household machines. And honestly, the details on how they ensure quality and safety too are surprisingly specific.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating because this kind of deep dive really shows you those fundamental layers of product assurance, the stuff we just take for granted most of the time. It really highlights how these, well, seemingly quite technical specifications can make a huge difference in the quality, how easy it is to use, and the durability of things we use every day. It's what separates maybe a frustrating task from something you actually enjoy doing.
Okay, so let's unpack this specific standard then. IS 154449 Part 1, 2024. For someone just using their machine at home, what does that string of numbers actually mean?
Right. So this standard, it applies directly to household sewing machines. Doesn't matter if they're hand-cranked, manual or electric. As long as it's for domestic use, this standard is relevant. And what's really interesting here, I think, is how these standards evolve.
Yeah.
That 2024 isn't just arbitrary.
It means it's new, right? Recently updated.
Exactly. It signals a proper revision. It means the standard's been updated to align with, well, modern user expectations and current safety practices, performance ideas. Things change. Think of it like making sure the machine you buy today is built to today's benchmarks, not ones from, say, 10 years ago. The end goal is pretty clear, making sure sewing machines sold in India are good quality, they're usable, and they're built to last.
That makes sense. So when the standard mentions general requirements, what does that actually cover? Like, what are the absolute basics it looks at, even before you get into the really intense testing procedures?
Yeah, the general requirements are sort of the foundation. If you connect it to the bigger picture, it's about laying down that baseline quality. So the standard specifies core things like the actual construction and design. Is the machine stable? Does it wobble? Things like that.
Okay, construction, design, what else?
Then there's workmanship and finish. Sounds basic, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's important. Are there sharp edges? Do the moving parts work smoothly? Does it feel well put together? It also covers basic performance. Can it actually sew properly, reliably? And crucially, the labeling and marking requirement.
Labeling, even at this general stage.
Yes, because these elements together ensure a consistent baseline quality. It's the first hurdle, you could say, established right at the start before all the specific performance and safety tests kick in. It builds a strong initial foundation.
Looking through this, I kind of expected just dry technical stuff, but digging into what it actually checks, that impacts the user directly. That's where it gets really interesting for me. Can you give us some examples? What's it checking under the hood that affects our everyday use?
Oh, absolutely. It's surprisingly practical. The standard wants to ensure the machine you get is mechanically sound. It implies checks for things like precision. Does the needle bar move correctly? Is the bobbin mechanism smooth, or is it going to jam? And, like we mentioned, it mandates proper labeling. You need the model number, the manufacturer's details. That's vital if you need help or parts later.
Right. Basic info you'd expect.
And more than that, it insists on proper materials that resist wear and tear. That directly impacts how long your machine will last. And then for the motor-operated ones, it gets into electrical safety, naturally.
Ah, okay. That's critical.
Definitely. Preventing shocks, ensuring proper wiring. It even sets limits on noise levels, which is, a usability factor too. All these specific checks really contribute directly to how well the machine works for you and whether you'll be happy with it long term.
So let's clarify something. If I see a machine that says it meets IS 15449 Part 1, does that mean it's BIS certified automatically? Because the source material seems clear that the standard itself isn't the certification.
That's a really important point to grasp.
Yeah.
Think of IS 15449 Part 1 as the blueprint, the rule book for how to build a good, safe machine. The actual certification, that official stamp that lets it be sold legally in India, that comes from the Bureau of Indian Standards, the BIS.
Okay.
And BIS has different ways of certifying different schemes. There's CRS, the Compulsory Registration Scheme, often for locally made goods, and FMCS, the Foreign Manufacturer Certification Scheme, for imported products. Now, while this standard isn't the certificate, it's the benchmark BIS uses within those schemes.
Got it. So it's like the test they have to pass.
Exactly. When BIS assesses a sewing machine for certification, they'll be checking against the requirements laid out in IS 15449 Part 1. So for any company making or importing these machines, complying with this standard is absolutely step one. It's essential to get that BIS approval needed to sell in India.
Yeah.
Understanding that helps you see the whole ecosystem, really, of how product quality is assured behind the scenes.
Right, which brings us to the manufacturers and importers themselves. What does this all mean practically for them? What do companies actually need to do to ensure their machines meet IS 15449 Part 1?
Well, for the companies, the process is quite defined. They need to follow these guidelines, these standard requirements, through their whole production, from designing it to putting it together. Then, once they have the machines, they need to get them tested. And not just anywhere, but by a lab that's specifically recognized by BIS. That lab will rigorously check if the machine meets all the parameters, stitch, quality, safety, everything we've discussed.
Okay, design, production, testing.
Sure.
What else?
And finally, the marking. They had to make absolutely sure all the required markings are there and are accurate. That includes the model number, who made it, the voltage if it's electric, and any essential safety instructions. Any slip up here, even something that seems small like a wrong label or a minor construction detail not matching the standard, could mean rejection during that BIS assessment.
Wow, so it's pretty meticulous.
Oh, absolutely. It really underlines the level of detail needed to ensure quality, right from the drawing board all the way to you see it on the shop shelf.
So wrapping this up, we've taken a deep dive into IS 14449 Part 1 2024, and it really shows how these standards quietly work to make sure household sewing machines in India meet fundamental levels of quality, usability, and safety. It covers the whole life cycle, really from design and materials right down to the label you see on the box. It shows how standards like this aren't just red tape. They build a framework for consumer confidence. They help ensure that machine in your home is reliable, even if you, the user, have never even heard of the standard itself.
It really does. And, this raises a broader point, maybe something to think about. How many other things that we use every single day, maybe your toaster, your kettle, even your phone charger, are governed by similar detailed standards, quietly ensuring they work well and safely without us giving it a second thought? They're like these silent guardians of the consumer world.
That is a great thought to end on. The silent guardians. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep that curious eye open. Keep exploring the world around you. We'll see you next time.